APLU President Peter McPherson, thanks for joining us for the first video version of Inside APLU. There's been a lot of talk about student loan rates increasing on July 1st. Can you let us know what's going on?
Sure. On July 1, the Stafford loans, actually the subsidized Stafford loans that are extended to students, these are new loans. The interest rate in those loans will double from 3.4 to 6.8. There's been a lot of discussion on how to avoid this situation.
Okay. What has APLU been doing about all this?
Well, we have been working very hard to avoid this immediate impact. Now, I should point out that these are new loans, so all the existing loans won't be affected. Their interest rate is already established. The administration came up with a proposal that I thought was very constructive, actually, that linked interest rates to the 10-year Treasury bond index, or interest rates, and a number of other things. It got some criticism from student groups because it didn't have a maximum cap. It didn't have a cap on how high interest rates could go. But the concepts were there. Then the House passed a bill that had many of the administration's proposals in it, had some core consistencies. Then the Senate got involved and said, we want to hold interest rates as they are for 2 years. And let's figure out long-term solutions then, 3.4%. Their proposal, however, was to pay for, because with low interest rates, you have to figure out the money to subsidize those rates, to pay for that by closing some tax loopholes. Well, this has now become a bit of a partisan issue. The president threatened to veto the House bill. The House responded not in a friendly fashion, unsurprisingly. Actually, it's really too bad because this should not be a partisan issue. There is the basis for an agreement between the House and the president, and actually the Senate Republicans have a proposal which takes up many of the key components, the House and the administration. We've been saying aggressively to all parties, look, there's a basis for an agreement so that interest rates aren't going to jump immediately, and that can be a permanent long-term solution. It'll be a little higher interest rates, perhaps than what people would like. You might need a cap at some level. There are a lot of ways you can do this. I've spent a lot of my life working on financial transactions and then as Deputy Secretary of Treasury, and I have a real feel how you could work with some spreadsheets, move some things around a little bit. There's no formula here, but there is a potential of a deal. And maybe I'm optimistic, but in the last 10 days, it seems like there's a little less partisan heat involved here. And I believe that this is one of those things in Washington. There aren't too many these days where you could actually have a bipartisan agreement. And that's the solution here. Now, where this really bites is when students come back in August and September when they take out their new loans. July 1 isn't an absolute deadline. Washington, as we all know, wishes to stretch deadlines out as much as they can. Well, they'll have an opportunity probably here. I doubt they'll get it done by July 1. But let's hope there can be such bipartisan agreement by the end of July.
And just lastly, as APLU and its member institutions continue to press lawmakers to come to some sort of agreement,
right,
what are the core principles that APLU has been expressing and trying to instill in lawmakers?
To keep interest rates as low as they can be. To not, if there isn't outside money outside of this program by closing loopholes or whatever, to work within the current structure. And lastly, to get it done.